Hi there, my name is Johanna Schouten. I'm a coach and advanced conversational hypnotherapist, and I specialise in postpartum mental health. It's summer at the moment. You wouldn't really say it looking outside because it's a bit of a more autumn-ish day today. But I was discussing during the week when it was really sunny, how sometimes it's really hard to keep your baby cool during the summer. And that's why I decided to dedicate a video about that today. Just give you lots of tips for you and your baby to stay comfortable in this hot weather. So, as the temperature rises during the summer, and maybe depending on where you live, the chances are that you and your baby are probably finding it harder to sleep and to keep cool. No sleeping, that's uncool. I think we can all agree on that. So, what can we do to ensure that we're comfortable and also the well-being of both yourself and your baby during these hottest moments of summer or during your vacations? So first of all, it's really important to understand that babies are more vulnerable to heat-related issues, and that's due to their immature thermoregulatory system. They're basically their inner wee thermostat. And that system, that thermostat that regulates your baby's body temperature. And that's still in the early stages of development, that, just like their whole entire body needs to develop. That's also one of the systems that's just not developed yet. So the ability to regulate their temperature, that can basically, it cannot be compared to your older children or to yourself or to other adults. Babies may struggle to maintain a stable body temperature, making them more susceptible to fluctuations in external environment. So, if you are cold, you can get up and put on your comfy cardigan or a thicker pair of socks. And when you're too warm, you'll do the opposite. And a child will be able to verbalize being too hot or too cold, but a baby simply can't do that yet. So it's really up to us as mums and dads to keep a close eye on our baby's temperature. Think about it. Babies have a larger surface area compared to their body mass. Just look at them lying in that far too big bed for them in their small bodies. That makes them more prone to heat loss through their skin. So that's one of the reasons why they really need to be kept warm and appropriately dressed, especially in colder environments. So, for example, when you have your air conditioning on, so it becomes tricky there. And for babies, it's also often difficult to conserve heat. For premature babies in particular, and I have 3 premature children, so I really know this firsthand, they have a harder time retaining body heat due to their lower body fat and their limited ability to to shiver. Because to shiver, that basically in sort of involuntary response of a body to generate heat, by moving, because their movement is very restricted because they're so small and they're not fully developed. So by shivering, that brings them, that's a good sign of them trying to warm themselves up, basically. So newborn babies also possess a special type of fat. I think it's called brown fat. And this fat is metabolically active, and it plays a very crucial role in generating that heat to keep the baby warm. However, the amount of brown fat that goes down, it decreases as the baby grows. And that makes it even more important to be mindful for us as moms and dads to regulate their environment during the early stages of life, because again, there's so many things continuously going on in their bodies and continuously changing, that, one point we think, oh, they're warm enough with that wee blanket, but maybe they'll require another one, or they don't need a blanket anymore because this is continuously changing for them. And it's really up to us to keep an eye out for these things. Obviously sweating, it's a natural way for a body to cool down, but a baby doesn't sweat the same way adults do. So they can't get rid of their heat very easily once it's in their body when they're in really hot conditions. And again, that makes them more vulnerable to overheating. So these are some examples of why babies truly have a different thermostat than we have as, adults, and that children have, because it's in a different developmental stage. So now that we know that a baby finds it hard to retain heat, and when exposed to a lot of heat, it's hard for them to lose it, that makes them more vulnerable to hypothermia. And due to their limited ability to generate and conserve heat, babies are at a higher risk of hypothermia if exposed to cold temperatures for an extended period. And on the other hand, babies can also be more prone to hypothermia. And hypothermia is the elevated body temperature if exposed to excessively hot environments, for example, when they're overdressed. So again, it makes it very important to make sure that the way that you dress your baby is appropriate for the conditions that you're in, both inside and outside. As I mentioned before, some people have air conditioning units, so it can become really cold inside when it's really warm outside. So, the clothing, choose lightweight, loose-fitting clothing, and try and choose clothing that's made out of more breathable fabrics, like, for example, cotton. And it's also a good idea to opt for lighter colors, because, when you're outside, lighter colors reflect sunlight, and that will help keep your baby a bit cooler when you know that you're going to be surrounded by sunshine. So avoid dressing your baby in. Sorry, my camera is playing havoc with me there. So I was saying avoid to dress your baby in certain materials, like synthetic materials, because they really trap heat. And I know that, some of these outfits, and especially the cheaper outfits, they look fabulous on your baby and they make really cute baby pictures. But it's really important to consider the fact that they can be extremely uncomfortable for the baby, and they're not able to verbalize that to you with words yet. So it's very important, even though they look really cute in these outfits, to keep an eye out for their body temperature. You could consider bringing along another outfit for them to wear after you've done your gorgeous wee baby shoot. I used to always carry sets of clothing myself for my kids, and that wasn't just for practical reasons for, when they would get things dirty, but it was also for temperature control. I was always, as I said before, my babies were born prematurely and they had a lot of issues with their little thermostats. So that was something that I decided to always keep handy. And when you feel that you have a baby that struggles to keep cold, then it can also be very sensible to apply skin-to-skin contact. It's also very enjoyable. Skin-to-skin contact with a parent or a caregiver can really help regulate the baby's body temperature, as the parent's body, it provides a stable and warm environment for the baby. So if you really are afraid that your body's too cold, then make sure that it's skin-to-skin. Be vigilant in both heat and cold, and make sure to continuously monitor your wee one. That's basically the best advice. When in doubt, look for the intervention of a healthcare professional. And I can't stress that enough, to do this for all babies. And again, my experiences from having premature children, lots of medical conditions there. I really have had some scary health scares with, especially one of my premature twins, when they were put on medication for a chest infection. And when I read the prescription that comes with it, I was explained by the doctors what the side effects could be. But what I wasn't aware of was that their temperature can also drop. I knew that they could, a fever would be one of the side effects. But for my wee baby boy, his temperature dropped, and it dropped to scarily lows. In the Netherlands, do it by degrees. I'm not sure what it would be if you live in a different country, but he dropped under 34.5 degrees when your body temperature should be around 36 or 36.5. So that was very, very low. And it happened during the night as well. So you're expecting a fever, you keep checking up on your baby, and then all of a sudden he becomes really cold. And I don't want to worry you or to scare you, but make sure that you know all the ins and outs of medication that you give your little one. And when in doubt, don't hesitate to contact a professional, which we did, and everything turned out to be all right. It's just his wee body has difficulty with his thermostat, but it can become really scary. So make sure you educate yourself on that as well. Understanding and managing a baby's immature little inner thermostat, it's really crucial for ensuring the well-being of your wee baby and promoting healthy development during especially the early stages of life. So again, always consult with healthcare professionals if you have any concerns about your baby's temperature regulation. I cannot stress that enough. But I'll continue because it's a bit of a no-brainer. But when it's really hot outside, you like to stay hydrated yourself, and the same goes for the baby. So never leave the house without a drink for the both of you. Even when breastfeeding, always make sure to have some appropriate liquids in your bag. And I say appropriate because, not every baby is at the stage of being allowed more than only milk. So, if your baby has solids, if you're at that stage, then make sure to use hydrating foods such as fruits and vegetables because, staying hydrated is just extremely important. Where possible, also try to create the cooler conditions. Keep the indoor temperature cool by using fans, or if you have an air conditioning unit, switch it on. Use a portable fan or a ceiling fan, or circulate the air in your baby's room regularly. Just ensure proper ventilation. Also, you could consider using things like blackout curtains or shades to block out direct sunlight. And really the same basics you would do for yourself to keep yourself comfortable, but with a baby, it's always good to be prepared. Also, especially during the night, keep the environment cool. Ensure that your baby's sleep environment is comfortable by, using more breathable bedding. You have special bedding that you can buy. Keep the room temperature cool where possible. Again, consider using fan or air conditioning to maintain a comfortable sleeping temperature. And avoid covering your baby with very heavy blankets or overdressing them because, they need to be able to get rid of that too warm body temperature as well. Again, maybe a bit of a no-brainer, but try and protect yourself. You will probably try and protect yourself from direct sunlight, by using sunscreen. And doing this for your baby is obviously extremely important as well, especially during the peak hours, which I think is about 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.-ish. If you need to be outside, try and seek out the shade or to use an umbrella. And again, dress your baby in lightweight clothing, maybe long-sleeved clothing. These cute wee hats for them. Sometimes I used to get sunglasses with elastic around it so it would stay on their heads. Use sun lotion for babies on their exposed skin. Try and apply it every 30 minutes if you can, and especially before going outside, and check from what age you're allowed to use that sunscreen, as I have heard that you can't apply all types of sunscreen to babies younger than, I think, 6 months. So really it's plan. If you've planned an outdoor activity, schedule them during cooler times of the day. I used to stay inside until like 3 or 4 o'clock-ish, and then I would go outside, which was sometimes quite a challenge. But I did feel better for it. So, you could also do an early morning walk with them, or early morning activities, or later in the afternoon. And of course, choose the more shady locations. I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again, always monitor signs of overheating and be continuously on the lookout for for all these signs, but the overheating signs, I'm not sure if I've mentioned them yet. There will be things like excessive sweating, because yes, babies can sweat, but they sweat in a different way than us adults. Their skin will become flushed. You might notice rapid breathing. There'll be irritability. They may have low energy at a time that isn't their usual nap time, or a high body temperature, which you can obviously check with a thermostat. If you notice any of these symptoms, then I urge you to take immediately steps to cool your baby down by moving them to a cooler environment, maybe loosening their clothing, using a cool damp cloth on their forehead and their bodies to cool them down a wee bit, splash some water on them, which can also be fun. Make sure to do it in a safe way though, and not to suddenly go dipping them into water, because that very sudden change in temperature can also not be very good for their wee bodies. But just make them shift into a cooler temperature, ease them in there. We see every year again young children trapped in cars, left behind in cars. I'll not go there, but limit time in the car as cars heat up really quickly. There's hardly any oxygen in them. Even with a window cracked open, just avoid leaving your baby in a parked car. Temperatures can become dangerously high within minutes. And if you're traveling by car, and if you have air conditioning in your car, use it. It works really effectively. Use the sunshades to block direct sunlight. All these logical built-in things into your car, use them. But please don't leave your baby behind in the car. It's wonderful when they go to sleep, and it's horrible to wake them up. But please stay with them in the car and make sure that it's well ventilated. So basically what it comes down to is plan ahead. Make sure there's always a bag there to grab with you with all the necessities in it. If you do have to go outside suddenly, take measures to stay cool and comfortable during hot weather for yourself as well as for your wee one, because it's really crucial to both your healths. Calculate extra time. Make sure that you have all the stuff in the house so you can go out for a nice day at the beach or at the park without having to worry, to take that stress away, to always have stuff available that you can just grab and go. So important. Again, I've said this a couple of times in the video. I'm going to say it one last time. Remember to monitor your baby for signs of overheating and to adjust their environment accordingly. Stay cool, stay hydrated, and prioritize your baby's well-being in hot weather conditions. Even if you want to stay on that beach because you're having a good time, it's not worth it for your baby's health conditions. I'm wishing you all a lovely sunny summer, and I hope this video was helpful for you. Thank you. Take care.